and all the or a good portion of the management that was in Wichita came to take over offices of VTOL in Philadelphia. They didn't know a thing about helicopters. But anyway, in time that improved, and the supervisors came back into their original positions. Meanwhile, at Lockheed, one of the first projects I had was working on a contract with the Army on airfoil, a series of airfoils for their use in helicopter rotors. The 63 series airfoils, thicknesses of 6 to 18%. I had done a lot of airfoil testing while I was at VTOL, and I was assigned to do the evaluation on those tests. Shortly after that, one of the projects I got to work on was the XH-51 compound, which was both a useful vehicle for testing the rotor for high speed and high load factor flight. I worked with that. Worked on the wind tunnel tests. The vehicle was put together. Don Segner flew it. He flew it at a high load factor at high speed, high load factor or at high speed. The control system worked beautifully. After he flew it, Jack Reeder of NASA came out and flew it. He also found it to be very satisfactory. I went to a forum that year, and I ran into the situation that Mike Hirschberg, a recent historical custodian taking over from Schneider, said that as he tried to make evaluations of the many things that had happened over the first 50 years, he would often get comments that he just couldn't make any sense of it, and they were very derogatory. Well, I'd gone to this forum, either 67 or 68, and a gentleman from Sikorsky gave a talk on why the Lockheed gyro would not work at high speed or high load factor. Now, this was after the fact. He didn't want to have anything to do with reality. That's just the criticism he made. I got up at the meeting and I told him that, it's foolish for him to make an analysis like this that has nothing to do with reality. But in any case, I worked there at Lockheed from 1964 to 1972 was on the Cheyenne. And it had some problems, but both Al Yackel and Ray Prouty gave a good definition of how they were solved. The vehicle worked and did what it was supposed to do, and then it did not get a production contract, and that's been a bone of contention for many years. In any case, I went on to work at a couple of other rotary ring projects. One was on a project with DARPA on a circulation control stopped rotor X-wing vehicle. We worked on that for a while, and based on priorities of the company, we had to leave that effort. And a very final effort I was working on was with a VTOL type of operation for an S3 type vehicle, in which we were considering vertical takeoff as well as short takeoff rumps. That concluded my effort. Thank you very much. I have a few pictures here, if I could show them, and it'd take just a minute. Where do we put them?
We got a technician here.
Okay, just 4 shots.
150 eyes.
This is the XV1 at McDonnell.
Go ahead.
Number 2. This is the X-51A compound with a jet engine mounted on one side and a remains of a stub wing on the other. And that one, Don Segner flew it at 303 miles per hour. His objective at the time was simply to get it above 300 miles per hour. Within a year, Bell flew one of their compounds at 314 miles an hour. But in any case, this was the first one to exceed 300 miles an hour as his intentions were. Okay. We got a couple of, that's an artist concept of the Cheyenne. Move on, please. One more. And that's the Cheyenne in a military exercise over Hunter Liggett campground, where they did a series of military maneuvers with the Cheyenne. That's the end of the speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Now, I want all the pioneers who are still in the room to come over here. We're going to get our picture taken.